Okay, so this is where we are with this. It's been a couple weeks, I think, since I took a video of this. And where I'm at, because I've been debating which direction I want to go with this. So there were a couple options I had. So to start off is I did my best touch-up job to Willie right there. It probably looks better on the camera than it does in person. I'm not completely happy with it, but it does, if you don't know it's there, your eye doesn't really catch it. It just kind of goes over it. So we have that. So I did touch it up because the wear spot was bothering me. There's not much I could do about the bad finish here. So what I did, because I'm insane, is I went and purchased a brand new playfield. Main and upper playfield from Micro Playfields. And that's in the box over here sitting. It's not completely taped up anymore. It is, the air is getting to it because, as rumor has it, the clear is still pretty wet and it needs to dry. So it's sitting over there drying. I don't want to leave it out, not in the box, and get damaged. So there it is. I already opened it up and looked at it. Everything looks good. So there's that. So I got that and I said, well, maybe I'll just do a playfield swap before I do Fathoms, because Fathom is definitely getting one, no question. And then last night, or the night before, last night, kids and I were down here playing the games, and I'm like, you know what? This really isn't all that bad. It's such a great game. It's a fun pinball machine. Both kids liked it. I really don't want to wait and tear the whole playfield down and do a playfield swap. Tear it down meaning the upper playfield and obviously the underneath, because that's what you have to do with a playfield swap, right? I know I have it. I know I have the playfield if I ever want it. That's a nice thing to have in the back of my mind. Peace of mind, if you will, even though it's not really peace of mind. So I have that. So what I've pretty much settled upon is my plan of action here is this. I purchased a flatbed scanner off eBay for cheap. So you can see. See? It's a little rough there. It's not great. The buckle, it could be better. It is what it is. Purchased the flatbed scanner off eBay for fairly cheap. There's some pin side threads. There's this old pinball about it. And what I'm going to do is I have to take all this stuff off the playfield anyway. Regardless of what I'm doing with this playfield, I'm going to strip it and clean it. Okay, that much needs to be done regardless. Right? Not going to do a playfield swap right now. I'm going to strip this and clean it. When I strip it, I'm going to scan this and try to touch up these areas and make a decal, either a water slide or a vinyl decal. I tested out a vinyl decal. I should have recorded it. I tested out a vinyl decal just to see how the ball acted on it and how much it would show. And a regular vinyl decal actually comes out pretty good. It's very hard to tell, even looking right over it. I mean, if you really look for it, you could tell, but it's not terribly in your face. Not, at least not as much as this touch-up is. So I'm going to scan it, try to make a decal. The other thing I could do is I could scan the new playfield too. So what I'll probably do is scan this image to try to use it and fix it in Photoshop. I have no idea how to use Photoshop. It'll be a fun adventure. And I'll scan this playfield and use that image too to work on my fix here. A couple ways I can go about it. But that's the plan of what I'm going to do. Worst comes to worst, the decal thing doesn't work out or the whole scanning thing doesn't work out. Absolute worst comes to worst, I just leave it like this and I play it and enjoy it and clean this whole playfield up. I mean, the worst case scenario really isn't a bad scenario, right? We got a Whitewater. It's a great game and we're going to clean it and fix it, and we like to do that stuff. So there you go. So that's kind of like what my mental process was for a little while, and I didn't get back videoing it because I wasn't sure what I was going to do. So now that I know what I'm going to do, we're going to start stripping this playfield. I'm going to borrow a table from work because I really don't want to take up space on Fathom or Black Knight to put all the pieces. Not like 8-Ball Champ, because number one, Whitewater has 10 times the amount of pieces. So really putting them on another machine really wouldn't work very well. So I'm going to borrow a table from work, and we're just going to start stripping it, cleaning it, and going from there. And I'll fill you in on the rest of it as we go. All right, so the first thing we're going to do that's driving me absolutely insane is the end test switch. These would go up in here like this, right? We all know you have the enter and the escape key and the plus and minus step up, step down keys, or buttons, I should say. On this era of pinball machine, these are all momentary switches, right? You push them. Some Williams machines have the button that push, it sticks down, and it makes things go forward. You push it up and it makes things go backwards or vice versa, whatever. But it's very hard to go through the settings when you have a button here not working. So if you have that, because I know I've had that in several machines, here is the part number right there. F2UOA. I believe these are made by Little Fuse, believe it or not. The caps are extra. It doesn't come with the cap. It just comes with the bare button. So obviously take the cap off your old switch and stick it on your new one. That's what I did here. This is the new switch. So, and then what we're gonna do, if I can't do it on the camera, holding the camera, is there's a little wire here, that's your ground, right? That goes through all three of them. And then obviously this wire hanging is the wire that, it's the return, right? It's the one that goes to the PCB up in the back box. That goes on the bottom right there. So pretty easy, you just gotta bend these tongs. There's 4 little prongs that hold the switch in. It's made to accept those. You gotta bend those in, or bend them out, take the switch out, bend them in. It's a little fiddly, but you can do it. And there you go. So that's what you want. Now keep in mind, these are for the ones that don't lock down. There's a different part number for the ones that do lock down. I believe Black Knight has those. Yep, see there. This is a different part number. Same kind of switch, but different part number. Okay? The one we have here are the ones that are just press, not lock. So, just to keep it in mind, if you need the part number for the locking ones, I have it somewhere. So we're going to do that, and that way at least we can start switching things around and playing with the settings. And I already started very slightly tearing apart the Playfield. I'll bring you back and I'll show you the carnage that's living up there. All right, so here's where we're starting. First off, the ball arch over there on Whirlwind was floating around, wasn't screwed in, and I wondered why, and it's because the hooks that are on here are not the correct type. The screw hole on the ball arch is down here, and the hole is up here for on this hook. So I looked into getting the proper hooks. That's too expensive. All right, they're like $11 each on Pinball Life. So instead, we're gonna do it easy. We're just gonna drill a hole down on each one. It's pretty thick metal, but I think we could figure it out. So that's what we're gonna do in order to keep that ball arch on. What else we got here as we go? These flippers are broken. As you can see, they're cracked. I don't know if that has anything to do with why the Playfield got beat up as much as it did. Maybe it did, but these are toast. Our ramp here, I think this is the waterfall ramp, I believe. Stripped, has this big machine screw here that does not hold into the Playfield, and that makes this ramp all over the place. I've already taken out a bunch of screws along the left side. These slingshot plastics have to go. I already ordered new slingshot plastics here. I found a new boulder, the boulder garden. This one's all over the place. So I found a new one of these, and I'm also got the protectors. I got Cliffy protectors for everything, almost everything. I'm gonna put the boulder protectors on before I put my new boulder on that I'm getting. It's a repro. It probably won't match exactly, but you know, whatever. It's better than having this flopping around with tape on it. Let's see what else. All right, so we're making some progress. We got our waterfall ramp off on the table over there. Got a lot of bags, and what I'm doing is, the manual actually has a pretty good tutorial on how to remove the upper playfield, so I'm following that. step by step. And then I'm bagging and labeling. You can get these on Amazon or Uline. Bagging and labeling where all these screws go, because there's a ton of screws. And I also have my random screws and nuts found. So any kind of random thing I find, I throw in here. Random meaning if it's in the bottom of the cabinet, or it's like in a ramp or in a subway or something hanging out, I throw it here. I already found a few, as you could see. So those probably belong somewhere else, and somebody probably dropped it, couldn't find it, and then went with another screw. So I have these to fall back on, so to speak. I just got the wire form off. As you can see, we have some broken stuff, right? We have this guy right here who was held on. I just put the screw and the washers back in there so I wouldn't lose them. It was held on with some washers on either side. You can see over here, this guy was held on with tape like this. And honestly, this is under the mountain, so I'll probably just retape it. I'm not going to go and spend hundreds of dollars on new ramps if I don't have to. Especially the newer ramps are thicker and they're a little harder to fit properly. So this is taped. I'm just going to retape that, most likely. There's the famous divot in here. This divot causes the ball to hang up. I got the Cliffy protector coming, although Cliffy, as of the making of this video, he's backlogged several months out. So hopefully he can get to my order sooner, but you know, it is what it is. He's going to do the best he can. But there's a protector that goes over here that gets rid of that divot, because the ball does hang up in there. So we got to do something about that. We got to re-glue our fur to our Bigfoot. Just get some crazy glue and glue it back there. So when he does this, it doesn't look like a disembodied arm, because right now it looks like this, which is weird. And yeah, I mean, some like random screws and everything that were holding the Insanity Falls ramp to the upper playfield. And we're just going to go through and follow the directions and very carefully take stuff off. On the bottom of the playfield, which I didn't record, I went and I labeled. There's a ton of connectors. All this stuff is Molexed. All these lights and switches or Molexed, thankfully. And I went and I labeled them all. A, B, B for either side of it. So that's all done. I think I got up to X, Y. I think I got up to X. So there's what, 24 connectors down there? It's a lot. And I labeled them all, so we're good there. So we're going to keep going. We're going to keep setting things up on the table. I'm going to keep taking pictures as we go. And hopefully that leaves us in good shape. I'll come back when I got more off. So hopefully you could hear me with the air conditioner. So Williams did a really good job Molexing everything, as we could see. The one thing they didn't Molex, and they usually won't, let's get back here, or let's zoom out. There you go. The one thing they didn't Molex was this this up kicker in the back of the playfield here. It's really dirty. It's super filthy. It's got loose screws and all sorts of stuff. They did Molex the optos. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 optos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 optos. I'm trying to make sure. You can see what I'm doing. That need to be cleaned. This little subway part needs to be cleaned. This plate needs to be cleaned. This needs to be cleaned. Long story short, they did not Molex the coil wires for it. So I cut everything, and we're going to Molex it right to here. So if somebody else wants to ever come in here and do service, it's Molex, they can unplug it. Not to mention, too, we have more of our tape here. So it looks like somebody got too lazy to get the soldering iron out, and they taped it. So we'll take care of that, too. But it's just much easier to do all of this while it's on a bench. I also don't like the way they stuck this through here for this Molex connector. I don't like that. We're going to try to, without damaging anything, we're going to try to get that right. Yeah, come on, you can do it. All right, no, we're trapped in there. All right, so we're going to try to fix that. Because look at all this nice slack it has, and it's taken up, you know, by being wrapped around there. So I'm guessing somebody repaired it, wasn't paying attention. Yeah, and they did that. So that's where we're at with that. And here's where we're at with the rest of it. I gotta run to the eye doctor, so we're gonna be taking a break. But I pretty much got 95% of everything off. It's in no particular order, but I took, in total, I think I counted 75 pictures, as well as labeling everything. And that's what I do, right? It's also good too. You can like do stuff like this, like the wire ramp next to Bigfoot looks like should be only right hand screw investigate. So you can write notes to yourself if there's wacky stuff going on that when you're putting it back together you want to look at. Speaking of Bigfoot, he's right here. There's really no way to put it down this way or upside down because you're going to wind up getting bending and messing stuff up. So it's easier if you just lay it on that outside edge, right? You can't lay it on this side because you have the whirlpool ramp, right? Lay it on that edge and then just kind of prop it up on something gently and clean it later. I also have to, my whirlpool ramp is intact, but it's cracking. So I'm probably just going to wrap a piece of tape, clean it, and then wrap a piece of tape around it just to keep it together. Again, I don't want to buy new ramps. The ramps are very expensive, and they're thicker, and it takes some doing to get them to sit right in the game once you do it. You're on my tripod, and I'm like holding it up. So I'll show you what it looks like semi-stripped. We took pictures of all this. So the upper flipper, whoops, I'm getting the legs of the tripod caught. The upper flipper's not broken. Actually, this upper flipper is in pretty good shape. The flipper bat itself, as far as I could tell. So we're probably gonna keep that one. Save ourselves some money here. But the rest of this is, yeah. The rest of this needs some care. I'm tripping over the legs of my tripod. I should have folded them in. Anyway, to get a closer look, let's see if I can do this. There you go. Got rid of the legs. It's also easier to hold this steady for me. You can see a lot of schmegma, a lot of little bits of stuff, just like April Champ. You know, it all collects in the back of the playfield. You can see the big hole here where Bigfoot, the upper playfield goes. Some more optos. That's where that up kicker goes. Got to clean all that assembly. You can see all the back here. See all this white stuff? Whoops. That's probably wax. When they were trying to wax it, they got wax all over the back. I'm tempted to see if there's like a lost plastic or something, or a backer. Actually, you know what? The ramps cover a lot of that, so it probably doesn't matter. I really don't want to do side blades because they get scratched up in my my experience. So, but I'll try to clean this up back here too. And we'll just vacuum out. There we go. Vacuum out everything. You can see this flasher bulb. Looks like a mirror. That hasn't been changed in a while. Neither is its little GI counterpart. It's got a little bit of the chrome dome going. I got a couple chrome dome bulbs which have gone to show. This stuff hasn't been changed in a while. This guy here, this guy's getting a little chrome domed. This guy's getting a little chrome domed. These guys here. So I'm guessing they haven't been changed since this thing was allegedly shopped out before my friends bought it. There's also some other kinds of stuff. The wireframe ramp over here was broken, is broken. You can see that here. That was wire tied on. Not the end of the world, but you know, I'm gonna see maybe if we can get a new one of these for not ridiculously expensive. And some other stuff. I think I showed you the dual switches here. It's taped on. I'll probably just retape it. You know, these are in good shape. That wireframe ramp's in good shape. That stuff's in good shape. Just got to be careful with these mountains, and I just piled everything very gently on here. And I got new slings coming. I already threw out the left sling, rather. Alright, so I'm going to go to the eye doctor. When I come home, if I get enough of my chores and housework done, I'll start to clean this off. I also want to take these flippers off and all this stuff off, especially down here. We're going to do everything, obviously, but especially down here because I got my scanner and I want to try to scan this and go into Photoshop, and we'll do that together. You can yell at me for my lack of Photoshop skills. So, all right, a lot of work to do, and we haven't even gotten back there yet. We're up there yet, so we'll be back. All right, where are we at? Here's where we're at. And I kind of forgot where I left us on the other video, so this might be a little bit of a repeat. So yeah, this thing was really hacked together. The more I take it apart, the more I realize that somebody really, this thing was in not great shape, and before they sold it, they really kind of cobbled things together. We're missing a T-nut down here. You can see these scratches in here. I don't know what the hell happened over here. Where else are we? I haven't cleaned anything yet, so we're still, let's do that. That's better. So we're still getting ready to clean. The ramp broke over here, the disaster drop ramp. And they had a piece of metal. I have it over there. You can see that piece of metal. They had it turned upside down and bolted in here to act as the left side of the ramp. And that's not going to work. And the protector, the ramp protectors I got from Cliffy whenever they arrive, they need that side of the ramp to bolt onto. So I bit the bullet and I bought one new ramp. I bought this new ramp. This wasn't super expensive. This goes around here and there, connects to the waterfall ramp, I believe, in a junction up here, if I remember correctly. Thank God I took pictures. So I did buy this new ramp, so that way this is... They even took out a bulb. This bulb was covered over this socket, and they just put a piece of metal in there, so that was kind of wonky. Again, all dirty. I got to clean all the subways out and everything. This, like, for example, this whole contraption here, this is where the metal ball guide goes down. It sits up on top of here, and it kicks it up. This was all cobbled together. We Molexed. I don't know if you could see down here. And a thing too, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I'm wondering how that plastic dome got cracked. It's because this lies right on the dome, which is already cracked, so I'm not too worried about it, but I'm being very gentle. We Molexed our flipper coil here, so it's going to be easier to remove. I labeled it 3 just because, but I just put it back together. But this whole contraption here, how it's number one, our coil stop bracket was all boogered together, so I got some new screws and put some nylock washers and screws, nuts, nylon nuts on here. Jeez, I can't talk. To hold that in. Then I got new screws to hold this bracket here to the coil assembly. These were bad and they were all loose. So now we have a nice solid structure here, but somebody just used all different kinds of connectors, screws and everything to get that through. This bumper was bad, and when I was trying to fix the bumper, it came apart in pieces. So I had some Data East style bumpers. And with a little bit of coaxing, it fit right on there, so now it has a bumper. So that's good. This ramp's going to come out, this subway, because believe it or not, this is actually clear. I mean, even the dirt on the outside of it's terrible, so I can only imagine what the inside looks like. Well, I don't have to imagine what the inside looks like. It's black. I mean, look at that. That's supposed to be clear. Yeah, so we're going to take care of that. I mean, that's all for the bottom of the playfield, really. Everything else doesn't look like it's in terrible shape in the bottom. All the coils, none of the coils are stuck. Everything seems to be okay. You have stuff like this where, I don't know if somebody did this so it didn't short out on something, or if it's broken. We'll take care of that. It was kind of like 8-Ball Champ, right, where they taped the wire onto the coil. So we'll resolder that as we go through. So yeah, back to the top of the playfield. So we have vacuuming and cleaning to do. I'm going to start doing that tonight. It's a Monday night after work. Really nothing going on, so I'll work on this. We're also going to take these ball guides off. I don't like taking them all off and putting them back on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them off one by one. Like I'll take this one off and clean it. The ones against here I can clean okay, but these over here I'll take off and clean as we go. You know, and then put them back on right away. The mini playfield is kind of an interesting story. So I think I mentioned that our whirlpool ramp right here, it's starting to crack on the bottom, and I'll get a piece of some packing tape or something just to put around it and strengthen it. But a whole bunch of cleaning needs to be done around here. We gotta glue his arm on. We'll do that last. But I flipped it over. I didn't notice it until recently. Somebody has driven 1, 2, 3 deck screws into the bottom of this, and I have no idea why. When I placed this back into the machine to try to see what these are doing, it's not doing anything. It's not serving any purpose. The wood's kind of come up from where these screws are. It's kind of split a little bit. I thought maybe it was trying to hold something together. It's not. The split in the wood there is caused by the deck screws. You can see these bulbs are all grody. That looks like this wire was broken here, but that's at the edge of the cabinet, so it probably got pinched from putting the playfield up and down, and that's what that's doing. We're going to take this board apart. We're going to reflow this board. We're going to check this coil, and we're going to, you know, clean all this up. It looks like something was spilled and dripped under here. That's kind of nasty. You know, old bulbs, old flashers, general cleaning, rubber. So we're going to get to that. Again, you really can't lay that down because then it bends a whole bunch of stuff on the bottom, and you can't lay it like this because then it can mess with stuff on the top. So, yeah. So that's kind of where we are. I do have my new targets. They're downstairs in my basement. I also got the mantis protectors that go on where the ramps, they kind of come on back here, and they do the double duty of protecting the ramp edges and giving these switches a little bit more support in back. That's why they use these big thick switches with these big thick backers on them, because just the way they get hit and the amount they get hit and the force with which they get hit winds up destroying them. As you can see, that's why they put 2 new ones on there. What else? Oh, and this little blue rubber, little blue bumper here. Just a quick tip, naphtha. Right, this was all black and full of, you know, God knows what. If you scrub it down good with naphtha, all that black will come right off. So it works actually really well. And we still have to order, almost forgot, still got to order flippers. This flipper bat over here looks okay. And we'll just order one anyway. If we're going to order 2, might as well order a 3rd. And yeah, so very dirty here. So yeah, we're going to do that. I'm also going to, once I get these flippers off and this other stuff off, we're also going to try to scan this and correct it. In Photoshop, honestly, really, I've kind of forgotten about it by now, but we're going to try the scanner thing anyway. Should be interesting. I'm going to make a decal of him and see how that works out. Could be a terrible idea, could be a great idea, but I bought the stuff, might as well try it. So, and we got to clean up all these assemblies. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get back to it. I'm going to start taking everything off, more of these posts and everything off, and we're going to clean from, basically clean from, I think, here up, being that we're slanted this way. So if any schmegma travels down the playfield, we'll get it last. So, all right, that's the update, and we'll come back. So just to give you an idea, we've taken off the ball kicker assembly, thing that, you know, kicks the ball over here. And we've taken off the ball guides that go here and the brackets that the ball arch goes under. And all I could tell you was, I can't even describe how filthy everything was. I'm scrubbing this down with naphtha, which is a great cleaner. I'm trying to use, not to use anything too abrasive, because obviously I don't want to destroy the finish and mess anything up more than has already been done to this playfield. But if you just look at the rag, like, this rag is just from that little part. I started with this one and changed. That's just from like the bottom under the ball arch and around these mechs, and I'm not even close to done, because I still have to do these ball guides. I still have to do the I don't know why I have two things fantastic up here. I have to do the kickback and everything. This one I cleaned up all nice. You can see how nice this came out, all nice and clean and shiny, ready to go. But yeah, that's what we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with. Some of this stuff just does not come off, and I'm not going to get, I mean, for something like this, you know, I'm going to be covered with the flipper. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm not going to start trying to use anything abrasive or anything to get that out. We're just trying to get all the built-up wax and all this other stuff. We already vacuumed it. We vacuumed down here. So we got all the big stuff up. Now everything just needs a really good wipe down and scrubbing, so to speak. For any of the tougher spots too, we can get some Novus 2, which maybe I will go over this stuff with some Novus 2. Just a little light abrasive just to get some of that stuff out. So when I'm all done and I have all this shined up and, you know, Novus and everything, I'll come back and I'll show you. Okay, sorry, I've been away. Hopefully I get this uploaded with what I have on my phone, because that's what I record with my phone. I could do a little update, but working softball season and everything's been crazy. So, tearing apart the underside, we have our new flipper bushings in there. These flipper mechs, I really should have replaced them. It's so hard to tighten the flipper. A lot of times when these have been tightened for so long and they're older, it's really, really hard to get a good grip on that flipper shaft. So I did one, not the other, but I got the two flipper bushings replaced. I got the light boards out. You can see how dirty they are and how disgusting those bulbs are and how gross those inserts are. Everything's gonna get cleaned out. We can take care of all that. I got the subway out. Subway is nice and clean. He's over here on Black Knight. You can see just a ground in dirt line in the plastic. We're not going to worry too much about that. Got all the optos. Had to resolder one of the wires on the optos. So we got all that good. Before we could put that back, we had to rebuild this mechanism here with a new bumper. Did our optos, cleaned all this out, all good. And we got to get the whirlpool lights. Still got to clean around the wood over there. It's really black. What we're doing with all these light boards too, these included, is while we have them out, I'm going to reflow. I'm going to reflow the pins, right? And I'm also going to reflow the sockets here. If you could see that, all the little points. It takes 2 minutes. But just before we go put this back and have a bulb not working or something, even if we have a bulb not working or something after we put it back, we can rule out cold solder joints, because we'll have reflowed all this, you know, while we have it out of the machine. Always do the PM, the preventative maintenance, while you have stuff apart. We're going to do the same thing to these and clean them up. That one over there is the dirtiest, I think. Replace the bulbs, put the bulb condoms back on. Yeah, you can see, look how dirty these rags are, man. From cleaning all these parts. So gross. What else, real quick. What else do we got? We got a replacement mountain for the one that was broken. I'm not going to put this in yet. Cliffy is very backed up with the Cliffy protectors. Had a death in the family as well. So that's what I was really waiting for. I wasn't going to put this stuff back until I got my Cliffy protectors, but he's out. He's a while out. So I'm just going to put the game back together, and I'll have to take it apart piecemeal to put the Cliffy protectors back in once I get them, which might not be for months and months now. And I really don't want to wait that long. I want to play the game. So got those. Got a new ramp. Here's the original mountain range up here. That still has to be cleaned. I got a new ramp. at this point, I forgot what ramp that is, actually. I think that's the ramp. Crap. I forgot what ramp that is. When I'm putting it together, I'll point it out to you. But it is definitely, I've read stuff that the new ramps are thicker, and that new ramp definitely is a little bit thicker. It's really nice, too. It comes with a sticker and everything. So that ramp, oh, I know what ramp that is. That is the, it's the, not the one all the way on the left on the upper playfield. It's the one next to that. I'm sure somebody knows the name off the top of their head. That's the ramp, because the whole entire side was missing. Where's the old one? Such a mess. This one right here. See that whole entire side's missing? So the new one I got is that one right there. 120 bucks off Marco. Not cheap, but you know, that was the most destroyed ramp of them all. I'm definitely not replacing all the ramps. So anyway, so that's a quick little update. I'm gonna go solder this because I gotta pick my daughter up at practice and cook dinner, and then we have a tournament this weekend, so I gotta get everyone ready for that, yada yada yada. So as soon as I get all that stuff done, I'll come back and I'll show you more progress, or I'll just upload what I have so far. And at this point, I've totally forgotten what video I've taken. So anyway, yeah, see you in a bit. There are a few things better than a nice clean Subway, huh? And I live in New York, so I know all about Subways. Look at that. Ooh, so nice. So nice. So we cleaned up all this, put that all back together, rebuilt all that, cleaned our optos, which you always got to clean your optos. Take a wow, Q-tip, like right there. Put some Glass Plus on it, Windex, and clean them because they get dirty. You have them on this side. You have them on this side. This little tab over here for our ramp is broken off right there. It's no big deal. It still holds pretty well with that guy right there. So that's no big deal. No, not really a problem. It's Friday morning right before I go to work. So not going to be doing too much to this, but I think our next step is to, I heard my daughter just drop something upstairs, clean up these light boards, replace all these bulbs, and get those back on here. We already cleaned out, as I mention all the time, we cleaned the bottoms of these inserts. Some of these inserts were ultra dirty, especially the ones up here that were hidden under those light boards, like black to the point where I think the bulbs were actually working. I thought the bulbs were out. I think the bulbs were actually working. They were just so dirty that the light wasn't coming through. We have not replaced the bulbs themselves, though. We're going to replace all these bulbs. We're using incandescent. I am one of those people who converted to LEDs and then deconverted back to incandescent. I just like the way they look better. I like the classic vintage look to them. So we're going to replace all these bulbs as we go. And yeah, so I'm going to take what I have video-wise, even if it's not much, and I'm going to put it together for you all. And yeah, we have a softball tournament this weekend. When I get back from that, I'll definitely do more work on it next week. And you can see Fathom's gone. We got rid of Fathom. We sold Fathom. Wasn't playing it. I think what I'm going to do, we also got Black Knight that's probably going to go too. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to concentrate on the newer machines. Seems to be what I like to play more. I used to have a thing for the older ones. I don't so much anymore. I think I'm just going to concentrate on the newer ones, like the White Waters, and you know, System 11 I think is the oldest I'm really going to go with. That's still entertaining to me, but I like the ramps and the sounds and the music and all that, so I think that's what we're going to stick with. So anyway, oh, and I still have to do something with the mini playfield. I haven't even touched it, sitting in my basement out of the way so nothing happens to it. So I got to do something with the mini playfield. Debating whether or not to use the new mini playfield I got with my new playfield. The mini playfield has that little divot in it. That's famous when it drops the ball in. That the old mini playfield has that, so I'm wondering if I should just switch to the new one. But then again, I don't have the Cliffy protector yet, so I really don't want to switch to the new one and damage that without a protector. So I'll figure it out. Maybe I'll just make my own protector somehow. I am somewhat handy when it comes to metalwork. So, all right, that's enough of that. I'll put together what I have, and you'll be seeing this video soon.